Neurogranio, Tiam ex incendio faro, el quiu chui estes que. Well, I have asked for people to challenge me, to give me supposed miracles in the Qur'an, to see if I could give them rational, naturalistic explanations. And it feels like I've been attacked on all sides. I've got Christians on one side talking about evolution and saying that's false, and I've got Muslims on the other side saying that evolution's in the Qur'an. Why can't I just get these two groups to fight it out together? Actually, that might not be such a good idea. I think I'm going to stay in the middle and fight it out myself a little longer. Now, before I start this video, I'd like to say I'm not a scholar of Islam by any means. I don't know any Islamic people here. I haven't been able to find anybody to ask these questions, and so anything that I say regarding Islam, you should certainly go check it out yourself. Definitely don't take my word for it. I have steered clear of any of the anti-Islamic websites, mostly the Christian ones. If I'm reading a website trying to find something about these scriptures, and it says something like, well, the Quran is wrong because it contradicts the Bible, immediately I know that it's biased, and I leave the site. And I try to forget anything that I've read there, thinking that it might be biased. Okay, well, let's get started. This is the first one in hopefully a long series. Hopefully we'll get some more difficult ones and lead up to the big finale. I think we all know which one that is. Okay, Surah 21, verse 30. Do not the unbelievers see that the heavens and earth were joined together as of one creation? Before we clove them asunder, we made from water every living thing. Will they not then believe? Let's see another translation. Do not those who disbelieve see that the heavens and earth were closed up, and that we have opened them, and that we have made of water every living thing? Will they then not believe? Another translation have not those who disbelieve known that the heavens and earth were of one piece? Then we parted them, and we made every living thing of water. Will they then not believe? Well, they did not believe. I've heard that the Quran is for people of every time, and certainly it was not just for us, but people way back then. But have they not known that the heavens and earth were of one piece? No, they couldn't have known that back then. So obviously the Quran is not for people of all times. And most people say, well, it was written, in such a way it wasn't just plainly spelled out because people back then wouldn't have believed. So apparently it was meant for us, and we just have to interpret it what Muhammad meant when he wrote these verses. Okay, let's start with the first miracle. We made every living thing of water. Now, at first I thought of water means that we are made of water, as in that sense. But I've seen that some Islamic websites have said that the translation does mean from water, so that all life actually came from water. And I will agree that is probably the correct translation. The reason I think this is because Muhammad knew about the Torah, and as we read in Genesis, and God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life. So in the Torah it says that life came from water. Muhammad took a lot of things from the Torah. I don't know directly, I don't know if he could read it, but he certainly heard the stories passed down from other people that had read it. And God made the two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. Also similarly said in the Quran. Okay, so he just simply copied the Torah, so the question is not how did Muhammad know that life came from water? How did all this evolution occur? He was just copying it. People at the time believed that we was mostly made of water, and that was one of the elements. And of course the other element was earth, and then the jinns were made of the element of fire. Elements, I don't know what was made of air. Okay, well, let's see. Do the unbelievers not see that the heavens and earth were joined together as of one unit of creation? Well, actually one of the other translations says that they were closed up and we have opened them. Another translation I found was that it was sewn together and then it was ripped apart. So it was closed up and then it was opened. Or you can think that it was all one piece and that it was divided. So if you think like a loaf of bread, and you could take it and you can make the slices. So you have these are the seven heavens and these are the seven earths. all stacked up on each other. And of course, we are on the division line between the earth and the heavens. God put the jinns and the men and different races on the earth side, and the angels and the demons and Satans and such on the heaven side. And that's why He puts the stars in between to protect us from the demons and such, so that they can't hear us and influence us as much as they would want to. Now, this was just the Platonic system of the geocentric universe. People certainly believed that at the time. There's no question of that. They thought that there were layers of heaven. There are these spheres, which each planet is represented. One for the moon, the sun, Saturn, Mars, these things. And so he just simply took that. Now, people also believed that when you die, you would go underneath the earth. People believed that there was this life underneath the earth. We've all heard the river Styx and Hades and all. So Muhammad, I don't know if he came up with it on his own or if people believed that at the time. I wasn't able to find any reference. But he said that there were 7 earths, just as if there were 7 heavens. So the people that died and were bad would go down. People that were good and died were taken up. They also thought that it was not as much a spiritual realm, the heavens, but it was a physical realm. That's why when you resurrected, you would be having a body that wouldn't age and all of this kind of stuff. So they didn't think much in the spiritual terms. It was pretty much heaven is, one of these spheres, above us, with God, of course, on the top one, or actually beyond the top one, I believe. And then, of course, you have all the hell. I think it was the 3rd layer below us, or something like this. So could people have said that the heavens were torn asunder and were separated? Well, they thought that light and day was separated. They thought that it was all just one unified piece. And this division line that we can obviously see between the physical earth and, the starry heavens, they thought that this division line wasn't always here. It was sort of blended together. So certainly people could have said that it was all one piece and then it was split. They also talked about the heavens splitting open, so it's probably like a dome that can be split. So I'm not sure what people thought about that. So they thought that this division occurred. I've also heard that people said that this was the most elegant way that the Qur'an had of stating that the Big Bang happened. This is how you would say it in primitive terms. But I think at the beginning of my video, the Esperanto that I read would be the best way. Basically, I said a speck, then a gigantic, what was the word I used? A giant blazing fire, of which all things were then created. So a speck, giant blazing fire, all things were created. If that wouldn't have been a problem for people back then to have believed that. And if it would have been written down, it certainly would have been amazing, but that's not what he said. He said it was simply one piece and then divided, just like the night and day is divided, which of course really has no meaning as we understand it now. There was a Muslim. I have to praise you. I watched one of his videos. I thought it was pretty funny. I believe the Qur'an is miraculous because, number 1, it claims to be so. It's important. Number 2, it doesn't contradict science. I don't know if a lot of Muslims think that way. But anyway, okay. He also says, he lets us comment on somebody else's page, we also shouldn't erroneously interpret scientific verses of the Qur'an, which are ambiguous, till we definitely know their meaning. Now, why do I bring this up? Well, if you're going to wait to interpret it until after you know what science has revealed about it and then say that's what it meant. Oh, well, we didn't know then, but now we are sure that that's what it meant. Well, now you're going to assign it. You're going to use the translation that most closely matches what you think that it means, and then say, well, how could Muhammad have known? How could he have known all these great wonders of the universe that people didn't know back then? Well, that's just because you found it now, and you simply assigned it that that's what he meant. When, of course, back then it was ambiguous, and now you're just saying, well, we know it means this, and now just prove us that it wasn't a miracle. But that's one interpretation, and I think it's very dishonest. No, it doesn't work that way. So, I have given a rational explanation for this verse in the Qur'an. There's nothing miraculous about it. People of the day certainly could have written down something. And I think it proves more the error in the Qur'an stating the layers of the earth and layers of the heaven, and the plagiarism of the Torah. But hopefully somebody will bring up another verse. I think it was pretty interesting going over all the information and looking all this up, trying to determine what it actually meant, looking back what people believed during that time period. So give me some more, and try not to give me the too tough ones first. Just give me some easy ones.